Welcome back. So, have you ever wondered why some people just never really get their crap together? You ever wonder why, when you're dealing with people, they come across in such a way that makes you question, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Have I been offensive? I think that that's something that we all experience in our culture pretty regularly. People are not always in a great mood, not in a great place, or worse, are the people who come across with this masked smile and this overzealous, excited to see you attitude, which we all know is definitely not authentic. I bring this up today because I wanted to give you a little bit more context about where my need to be authentic has come from. Back in 2018, I had a pretty significant falling out with my family. And I know this is going to get a lot of crap from a lot of people, but I haven't spoken to my family since 2018 because of it. And it isn't because they're bad people. It's because I spent 6.5 years after that moment going through therapy. Yep, therapy is a thing. Nobody considers how important it is to take care of themselves, especially when it comes to listening to the opinion of somebody else. And a lot of times when we think about the potential of therapy, it certainly has some connotated ideas around it. Not everybody wants to see a therapist because they're worried of how they'll be viewed, potentially judged. Will that competency come through with the therapeutic relationship? Can they manage the job? Can they really help us? All of those things, right? And I can tell you from my own experience that spending that amount of time in therapy seems like a lot, and it was just a drop in the bucket for how much energy of a lifetime it took to maintain that plastic smile for the people I didn't really want to be around, or to learn how to manage my own emotions when it came to being upset or angry with people. I bring this up because one of the reasons that I let things fly out of my mouth the way that I do is because I had to pretend for a long time that what people did or said to me or about me didn't bother me. And I know, as well as probably all of you, that when somebody is unkind, we know the damage it does because we carry that with us. I bring up the therapy for that reason. One of the reasons that I've noticed when it comes to people's response to the world when they're not in a good place, it's never about the person that's in front of them. It's always about what's happening inside, what gears are turning, what things are coming up for them, and maybe what old trauma is being reinstigated in those moments. Because, yeah, that's a thing. Re-traumatization is a big thing. And I'm going to use that as a term, re-traumatization, because I think triggering has become a buzzword in the culture nowadays, and I don't think that it is at the same level of help that it might have been 10 or 15 years ago. We used to get triggered by something and have an emotional response. Now everything triggers us and we become outrageous and difficult to manage by ourselves and with others. So I talk about re-traumatization because we all had something happen to us at some point in our life. Whether it was something big or lots of little things, we've all had experiences that have left marks on us that nobody else sees. We do, though. So for me, when I think about the importance of authenticity, I found that was something I learned about in therapy. I learned that you're never going to change anybody else. And as much as I wanted to believe for a long time that I could influence people to move towards their own change, that's not true either. Our influence resides completely within ourselves. The only person we can ever influence or motivate toward change is ourselves. That's it. And part of that is because We have lots and lots of parts of us, little parts, young parts, maybe adolescent parts, and even adult parts that still carry a voice inside of us when things are happening around us. And that's the interesting part in all of this. I'm going to introduce an idea to you guys, what's called internal family systems. And that is a big, loaded definition of a system that helps us figure out how to manage all of those parts within ourselves so that we don't become re-traumatized or triggered by the things that happen around us in the world. It is probably the most valuable piece of information that I learned in my time in therapy was that I have to respect that sometimes when I'm really upset, it isn't me, the 53-year-old. It isn't the adult in me who's saying, that's probably not a good idea. Sometimes it is a 10-year-old kid who's just pissed off because yet again somebody else isn't hearing what it is that we're trying to say. Or worse, being dismissed because we're trying to have our voice heard and somebody else doesn't want to respond to the need that we have in that moment. We can't help it. But the reality is that sometimes and somehow we have to learn how to help manage those younger parts of ourselves. I know that for me, it helped me to learn how to deal with other people. When I have a little kid inside of me that's screaming and yelling, this person doesn't listen to us, this person doesn't respect us, I can go inside and quiet that voice. I can let that little voice inside of me know, hey, wait a minute now. I understand and I want to listen to what you have to say, but this isn't the time or place. So let me get through this and then we'll go through that together later. And having that ability to differentiate in the moment and being able to help those younger parts of ourselves so that we don't become side-railed and we don't become a target for somebody else's upset when a 10-year-old is speaking out of turn, it makes a huge difference. One, in how we effectively communicate, and two, how we carry ourselves and hold esteem for ourselves by being able to say, I got this. I can handle this. I will deal with the person in front of me and then help those emotions later. That, in and of itself, managing parts, is the biggest obstacle that we deal with when we're trying to manage our emotions. We call it emotion regulation, and people don't regulate very well in this culture. None of them do. I, too, have my moments. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would absolutely agree with that, and it's okay, because I know that they have their moments, too. It's part of our human experience. So the next time you're thinking about how somebody's coming across to you and how they might be intentionally hurting you or causing you pain, know that that isn't you. Know that that is a young part inside of them that's just really upset. And that's what's causing their dysregulation. It's not because of you, it's because of themselves and because they haven't learned how to talk to their parts and talk to those younger versions of themselves who are just wanting to be seen in that moment. Thanks for stepping in today and listening for a few minutes, and I will catch you the next time.